From your perspective, can you summarize the important events around this amazing saga that we've been living through of WallStreetBets, the subreddit, and GameStop, and in general, just what are your thoughts about it from a technical to the philosophical level?
I think it's amazing. It's like my favorite story ever. Like when I was reading about it, I was like, this is the best. And it's also, connected with my company, which we can talk about. But what I liked about it is I like decentralized coordination and looking at the mechanisms that these WallStreetBets users use to hype each other up, to get excited, to prove that they bought the stock and they're holding. And then also to see that how big of an impact that decentralized coordination had. It really was a big deal.
Were you impressed by the distributed coordination, the collaboration amongst I don't know what the numbers are. I know Numerai is looking at the data. After all of this is over and done, it'd be interesting to see from a large-scale distributed system perspective to see how everything played out. But just from your current perspective, what we know, is it obvious to you that such incredible level of coordination could happen where a lot of people come together in a distributed sense? There's an emergent behavior that happens after that.
No, it's not at all obvious. And one of the reasons is the lack of kind of credibility. To coordinate with someone, you need to kind of make credible contracts or credible claims. So if you have a username on our WallStreetBets, like some of them are, like Deep Fucking Value is one of them.
That's an actual username, by the way. We're talking about, there's a website called Reddit and there's subreddits on it. And a lot of people, mostly anonymous, I think for the most part anonymous, can create user accounts and then can just talk on forum-like style boards. You should know what Reddit is. If you don't know what Reddit is, check it out. If you don't know what Reddit is, maybe go to the AW subreddit first, AWW, with cute pictures of cats and dogs. That's my recommendation. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, that would be a good start to Reddit. When you get into it more, go to our WallStreetBets.
It gets dark quickly. We'll probably talk about that too. So there's these users, and there's no contracts, like you were saying.
There's no contracts. The users are anonymous, but there are little things that do help. So, for example, if you've posted a really good investment idea in the past, that exists on Reddit as well, and it might have lots of upvotes. And that's also kind of like giving credibility to your next thing. And then they are also putting up screenshots. Like here's the trades I've made, and here's a screenshot. Now you could fake the screenshot, but still, it seems like if you've got a lot of karma and you've had a good performance on the community, it somehow becomes credible enough for other people to be like, you know what? He actually probably did put $1 million into this. And you know what? I can follow that trade easily.
And there's a bunch of people like that. So you're kind of integrating all that information together yourself to see there's something happening here. And then you jump onto this little boat of behavior, we should buy the stock or sell the stock. And then another person jumps on, another person jumps on. And all of a sudden you have just a huge number of people behaving in the same direction. It's like flock of whatever birds.
Exactly. What was strange with this one, it wasn't just, let's all buy Tesla. We love Elon. We love Tesla. Let's all buy Tesla. Because that we've heard before, right? Everybody likes Tesla. Well, now they do. So what they did with this, in this case, they're buying a stock that was bad. They're buying it because it was bad. And that's really weird because that's a little bit too galaxy brain for a decentralized community. How did they come up with it? How did they know that was the right one? And the reason they liked it is because it had really, really high short interest. Mm-hmm. It had been shorted more than its own float, I believe. And so they figured out that if they all bought this bad stock, they could short squeeze some hedge funds. And those hedge funds would have to capitulate and buy the stock at really, really high prices.
Mm-hmm. And we should say that shorted means that these are a bunch of people. When you short a stock, you're betting on the you're predicting that the stock is going to go down, and then you will make money if it does. And then what's a short squeeze?
It's really that if you are a hedge fund and you take a big short position in a company, There's a certain level at which you can't sustain holding that position.
Right.
There's no limit to how high a stock can go, but there is a limit to how low it can go, right? So if you short something, you have infinite loss potential. And if the stock doubles overnight, like GameStop did, you're putting a lot of stress on that hedge fund. And that hedge fund manager might have to say, you know what? I have to get out of the trade. And the only way to get out is to buy the bad stock that they don't want, like they believe will go down. So it's an interesting situation, particularly because it's not zero sum. If you say, let's all get together and make a bubble in watermelons, you buy a bunch of watermelons, the price goes up, it comes down again. It's a zero sum game. Mm-hmm. If someone's already shorted a stock and you can make them short squeeze, it's actually a positive sum game. So yes, some Redditors will make a lot of money, some will lose a lot, but actually the whole group will make money. And that's really why it was such a clever thing for them to do.
And coupled with the fact that shorting, I mean, maybe you can push back, but to me, always from an outsider's perspective, seemed, I hope I'm not using too strong of a word, but it seemed almost unethical. Maybe not unethical. Maybe it's just an asshole thing to do. Okay, I'm speaking not from an economics or financial perspective. I'm speaking from just somebody who loves, I'm a fan of a lot of people. I love celebrating the success of a lot of people. And this is like the stock market equivalent of like haters. I know that's not what it is. I know that there's you want to have in the economy efficient mechanism for punishing sort of overhyped, overvalued things. That's what shorting, I guess, is designed for. But it just always felt like these people are just, because they're not just betting on the loss of the company. It feels like they're also using their leverage and power to manipulate media, or just to write articles, or just to hate on you on social media. And you get to see that with Elon Musk and so on. So this is like the man, so people like hedge funds that were shorting are like the sort of embodiment of the evil, or just the bad guy, the overpowerful that's misusing their power. And here's the crowd, the people that are standing up and rising up. So it's not just that they were able to collaborate on WallStreetBets to sort of effectively make money for themselves. It's also that this is like a symbol of the people getting together and fighting the centralized elites, the powerful. And that, I don't know what your thoughts are about that in general. At this stage, it feels like that's really exciting, that people have power, just like regular people have power. At the same time, it's scary a little bit because, just studying history, people can be manipulated by charismatic leaders. And so just like Elon right now is like manipulating, encouraging people to buy Dogecoin or whatever. There can be good charismatic leaders and there can be bad charismatic leaders. And so it's nerve wracking. It's a little bit scary how much power a subreddit can have to destroy somebody. Because right now we're celebrating they might be attacking or destroying somebody that everybody doesn't like. But what if they attack somebody that is actually good for this world? So that's kind of the awesomeness and the price of freedom. Is like it could destroy the world or it can save the world. But at this stage, it feels like, I don't know, overall, when you sit back, do you think this was just a positive wave of emergent behavior? Is there something negative about what happened?
Well, yeah, the cool thing is they weren't doing anything. The Reddit people weren't doing anything exotic. It was a creative trade, but it wasn't exotic. It was just buying the stock. Okay, maybe they bought some options too, but it was the hedge fund that was doing the exotic thing. So I like that. It's hard to say, well, we've got together and we've pooled all our money together, and now there's a company out there that's worth more. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Right. But it doesn't talk about, the motivations, which is, and then we destroyed some hedge funds in the process.
Is there something to be said about the the humor and the, I don't know, the edginess, sometimes viciousness of that subreddit. I haven't looked at it too much, but it feels like people can be quite aggressive on there. So is there, what is that? Is that what freedom looks like?
I think it does. Yeah, you definitely need to let people. One of the things that people have compared it to is Occupy Wall Street,
Right.
which is, let's say, some very sincere liberals,
Mhm.
like 23 years old, whatever, and they go out with signs and they have some kind of case to make. But this isn't sincere, really. It's like a little bit more nihilistic, a little bit more YOLO, and therefore a little bit more scary. Because who's
Yeah.
scared of the Wall Street or Occupy Wall Street people with the signs?
Right.
Nobody. But
Yeah.
these hedge funds really are scared. I was scared of the WallStreetBets people. I'm still scared of them.
Yeah, the anonymity is a bit terrifying and exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what to do with it. I've been following events in Russia, for example. It's like there's a struggle between centralized power and the distributed. I mean, that's the struggle of the history of human civilization, right? But this on the internet, just that you can multiply people, like some of them don't have to be real. Like you can probably create bots. Like it starts getting me as a programmer. I start to think like, me as one person, how much chaos can I create by writing some bots?
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one thinking that. I'm sure there's hundreds, thousands of good developers out there listening to this, thinking the same thing. And then as that develops further and further in the next like decade or two, what impact does that have on financial markets, on just destruction of reputations, of just or politics? The bickering of left and right political discourse, the dynamics of that being manipulated by, people talk about like Russian bots or whatever. We're probably in the very early stage of that, right?
Exactly.
And this is a good example. So, do you have a sense that most of Wall Street Bets folks are actually individual people, right? That's the feeling I have. Is they're just individual, maybe young investors, just
Yeah.
doing a little bit of an investment, but just on a large scale.
Yeah, exactly. The reason I found out, well, I've known about Wall Street Bets for a while, but the reason I found out about GameStop was I met somebody at a party who told me about it. And he was like 21 years old. And he's like, it's going to go up 100% in the next one day.
Are we talking about in last year?
This was a few days ago.
Okay.
It was like maybe 2 weeks ago or something. So it was already high, GameStop. But it was just strange to me that there was someone telling me at a party how to trade stocks who was like 21 years old. And I started to look into it. And he made 140% in one day. He was right. And now he's supercharged. He's a little bit wealthier, and now he's going to wait for the next thing. And this decentralized entity is just going to get bigger and bigger.
And they're going to together search for the next thing. So there's
Yeah.
thousands of folks like him, and they're going to probably search for the next thing to attack. People that have power in this world, that sit there with power right now in government, in finance, any kind of position, are probably a little bit scared right now. And honestly, that's probably a little bit good. It's dangerous, but it's good.
Yeah, it certainly makes you think twice about shorting. It certainly
Yeah.
makes you think twice about putting a lot of money into a short. Like these funds put a lot into one or two names, and so it was very, very badly risk managed.